Welcome back to the channel. This is gonna be episode number 16 of my van build series, and in this episode I'm getting this thing running again. And as you know, this thing died while I was 4x4 adventuring, and it got towed to this spot here and it sat here ever since. For a while I distracted myself by doing the 4x4 spot, and I've now did all the finishing touches. I think it looks pretty good. But obviously that was just a distraction, so I have to get down to the nuts and bolts of this thing and why it isn't working. So this thing does not have spark. It cranks, but will not start. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but it doesn't have spark. So I tested this on the side of the trail originally when I broke down with a screwdriver coming off the ignition coil to a ground. There was no spark. I've since repeated this test multiple times with a known better spot, or with a known good ground, and with an assistant that helped me to make sure that was for sure a good test, and there's no spark. So I tried a new ignition coil on the trail, because where I broke down, I had to get I hitched a ride to town to the local Tim Hortons, which is right next to Lordco. So I bought a new ignition coil, plugged it in. I was hoping that was going to save the day. It didn't, so then I got towed here. So that's basically where I stand now. So we're gonna go inside here. Okay, so this is my doghouse cover. So this distributor cap and rotor is brand new. And as if you've been following along, I've actually replaced, the first time I broke down, I replaced my distributor cap and rotor and all my spark plugs and wires and everything. But since this became kind of an issue of why I couldn't get this thing running again, I couldn't help but shake the idea that maybe for some reason my new distributor cap and rotor had failed already for some crazy reason. So I replaced it, I guess, a third time. But so it is not my distributor cap and rotor. These are brand new. So after that, when I replaced that, it didn't work. I went back here and this is my ignition coil. This is the brand new one I got from Lordco. So I mounted this all up, and then see back here, I got a heat sink and my ignition control module right here. I replaced that, and this is an ignition control module. This is the one that came out of my van, and this is a new third ignition control module that came from a junkyard. This one actually came from a Blazer, but anyways, this is my original. That one, my light again, that one is a junkyard piece that I bought for 10 bucks. And I was hoping it was going to solve all my problems. It didn't. So now I'm in the situation where, since I bought a junkyard piece, that also could be dead. Theoretically possible. But I did plug the new third one in. It also did not work, but I'm not sure I had it grounded well enough. But anyways, I do not think this is my problem. But one thing I did notice when I pulled my ignition control module out, on the back here, I'll show you these better. On the back here, there's residue of thermal paste. So when it mates up to the heat sink, there's thermal paste on the background to add conductivity. No. Well, yeah, maybe it's that. But anyways, it helps the cooling. So when you pull this off, you realize there's like almost none left. And I guess it just disappears over time through, I don't know, condensation, evaporation, or whatever. It just disintegrates over time. So in my head, I saw that. I was like, oh, this thing maybe is probably overheated. So honestly, I think whether this wasn't my problem, I think actually routine maintenance would suggest that now that I've reinstalled it with brand new thermal paste from Amazon. 10 bucks, came this sweet tube. I actually think I'm in a better spot now replacing that with new thermal paste. But anyways, so at this point, I'm kind of at a loss. So the next thing I did was replace my crank position sensor. So up under here, right up there, I got one bolt that holds in my crank position sensor. Pop that out, got an electric harness here. Clips in, clips out. I replaced that. And I was really hoping that was going to be the trick that did it. Was not. It did nothing. But I will say one more thing about that crank position sensor. Is according to the internet, I was led to believe that I might have to do with like a OBD2 scanner, well, like I think a proper GM one. I might have to do a relearn procedure to make that work properly. But I think that it should start if that was my problem. And I will just now probably have a check engine light that comes on. So I don't think that's what's preventing me from starting. Especially because the situation did not change at all before and after replace. It still cranks, no start, the exact same way. To me, meaning it did absolutely no difference. So that was not my problem. So my current situation now is that I'm sort of at a loss. So what I did was order another new ignition coil for just on the off chance that for some crazy reason the new one I bought at the Lordco in Lillooet is defective. I'm just gonna outrule that. And also I like to have spare things just because that's part of the reason why I now have 3 ignition control modules. So that's one thing I'm gonna try. I'm gonna plug that in, see if it works, but I highly doubt it, but you never know. But I'm gonna plug that in, see if it works. And then the next thing I'm gonna try is I have a brand new distributor on the way. Should arrive tomorrow. So these distributors here, the GM ones, these are all made of plastic. And just reading online, it sounds like, I don't know, I think some people seemingly have problems with it. And actually, I think on the Journey's website, they sell their ignition tune-up kit that actually has a distributor in there. So in my head, it means that these things must fail. And they also, inside the distributor is a cam position sensor, which also could fail. But I ordered a brand new billet aluminum distributor on Rock. It was like 111 bucks. So again, even if it isn't my problem, which this is currently what I think my problem is going to be, is a bad distributor. But even if it isn't my problem, I have a brand new distributor. I got brand new everything. So yeah, worst case scenario is I don't fix this, that doesn't fix it, but I have a brand new ignition system all around. And then when I do solve my problem, I still have a brand new ignition. So whatever, brand new distributor is coming in the mail. And one other thing, before I ordered this, I was kind of at a loss of things that could be my problem. So I went ahead and I went to Canadian Tire and I bought this fuel pressure regulator. No, fuel injection pressure tester. So I was trying to rent one just to double check, but they didn't have one. And I was being impatient, so I didn't want to wait for them to return one. And then this thing was only 62 bucks. So I just felt that it was worth me buying. So I bought it, and I have tested my pressure, and I actually have good fuel. Sorry, I'm fiddling with this. I gotta stop. And I actually have good fuel pressure. I'm at like 62, 63 PSI. And then the needle like fluctuates as it seemingly is getting pulse from the injectors. So again, it feels like everything's working except for some reason I don't have spark. But actually I will show you my fuel pressure test. I'll show you the pulses. Okay, I got a nipple here for this Schrader valve. Well, maybe it's not a Schrader valve, but it looks like one. Screw that bad boy on. Get the keys ready. The battery's been sitting a while, so I hope it's gonna have enough juice. Well, we will go to start it. Oh, shit. Release the pressure. My battery's pretty dead, but you see, it went up there, I was like 61, and then it pulsed, which I think is the injectors firing. Feel in my tube. So I have fuel pressure. Again, I tested for spark, so I do not think there's spark. I was worried for a while that maybe I don't have fuel pressure. I do have fuel pressure. So I'm back to my spark issue, which I'll replace my distributor. So I'll wait till that comes in, and that'll be what I show you next. Okay, so here's the new distributor. It's built aluminum. And basically, taking this old one out, I made a mark where this is pointing to. And then when I undo this one bolt here, I'm gonna pull it up. This should turn at that point with because the gears are on an angle there. It'll rotate probably to maybe here, so I'll make a second mark, and then when I go to put the other one back in, I'll put it in based on the second mark, and when it goes in fully, it should point back to the original mark, putting it back in the exact same spot. But I will say I'm a little bit nervous. I've never replaced a distributor before, and also this is the last thing that I know that I should try to get this running again. So I'm a little bit like scared that it doesn't work and then I'm not gonna know what to do. So anyways, I'm just gonna go for it, replace it. Okay, new distributor is in. We're gonna do this. And we still have no start. So honestly, I'm pretty much at an end. I don't really know what to do. I think I might have to get an actual GM mechanic in here to figure out what's going on. Like, I don't know if I have a wiring issue beyond my ignition system, but I don't understand what is preventing me from starting at this point. So I guess that's it. That's the end of this episode. A cry for help. If you guys got any suggestions, hit me up, but I don't know. I am going to just go inside and be sad for a while.